Hello, and welcome to the Core Dog Experience. Talking Ohio State, talking college sports, and everything in between. So if you're feeling what you're hearing, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Trying to grow this thing out. Did a lot in 2024. Trying to do more here in 2025. So with that said, let's get into today's game. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Win as expected. A good win as expected. Shut out as expected. I mean, Iowa just shut them out. I know it's hard to teams don't like getting shut out back to back, but you had the number one defense coming in. It was going to be uphill sledding for Wisconsin, and given all their injuries, I didn't know they had that many injuries. Being just that on top of it, playing the number one defense, I expected a shutout. And Ohio State got it, 34-0 at Camp Randall, which typically has been a hard place to play. Not so much this year. Talking about coaches on hot seats. Our Ohio State alum look fickle. It is not looking good for him. It's not looking good for him. We'll see. I thought James Franklin was going to make it to the end of the year. We'll see if Luke can make it to the end of the year. I don't know, but oh, this game. So this type of team, this type of game, you want to get out early and just let them know y'all ain't got a chance in this game. And Ohio State, they wanted to get off to a fast start. They wanted to get Julian going, and they just came out throwing the ball left, right, center, up and down the field. They just came out chucking the ball. Because despite Wisconsin's issues on offense, they got a good defense. They remind me of Iowa's team last year. Iowa had a good defense. Their offense left a lot to be desired, and that's this year's Wisconsin team. Not much offensively, but they got a decent defense, and Ohio State eventually wore that defense down. We will get into some of the other stuff there, but let's just start off with Julian Sand. We've been wanting him to throw the ball, and I've been thinking they've been easing him in. I know we halfway through now. We halfway through the season, and they've just been easing them in. Third road game now. Again, what could potentially have been a hostile environment. But they let them come out and throw the ball, because they know they got some stuff coming up where Julian's going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to make some plays. And to his credit, he came through again with flying colors. Just look at some of his stats. 36 of 42. When I say they let your boy throw the ball, they let your boy throw the ball. Part of it was by design. I think that whole first drive was scripted. It seemed like that way because they just came out throwing the ball. 42 times they let him drop back and throw the ball, and save for maybe one pass, maybe two, your boy was just pinpoint accurate. Besides the ones that got knocked down. But other than that, if it wasn't getting knocked down or getting tipped at the line of scrimmage, I think he badly under Miss Carnell on one. And I can't remember the other one. But I think maybe just two, he was just off. Which is just rare to say with Julian this year. He just completely missed the throw. But I think he got one. He was just off. Thing was an out route to Carnell Tate. But other than that, over an 80% clip, and he wasn't just dinking and dunking. He was going down the field. The first touchdown pass to Carnell Tate, that was just pure money. Pure money. Put it only where Carnell could catch it. That got the Buckeyes offense going. They wanted to get off to that fast start. It was a third 15. It was a third and long, and we get the touchdown. It was just a beautiful pass, a better catch, and that got things rolling, and I think that set the tone for the rest of the game, passing wise at least. Was that first TD, Julian saying to Carnell Tate, and they just let him keep throwing it. I said the first drive, you never know if the first drives are stricter, but as the game played on, Wisconsin was stacking the box. I said they got a good defense, if anything else, and we had issues running the ball consistently. I think Bo was a little banged up coming into the game. I think that's why CJ got the start. But Bo in the running game, Wisconsin held it in check. So either by design, by Wisconsin's defense, or just by design, period, letting Julian get ready to rip the ball because he's going to have to throw the ball going down the stretch, and they're setting them free. They're taking off some of the straps, so to speak, and letting him throw it and getting him comfortable in that situation, and he delivered. Like I said, 36 of 42, over 80%. He wasn't dinking and dunking. Almost 400 yards of offense, passing yards, and 4 TDs. 4 TDs. 2 of those went to Cardell. Was it Casimir got one of them, and who was the fourth one too? I can't remember. He got 4 TDs on the day. 4 TDs, and he was Brandon Ennis. Brandon Ennis, there you go. But he was just ripping the ball all day. He looked good. Showed mobility in the pocket because Wisconsin was bringing pressure. I think that's the most team's been in the backfield all season, and he navigated the pocket well. Stepped up when he needed to, took off on a few occasions when he needed to. He moved around in the pocket, and he was a master of the pocket. Still got the ball out on time and delivered. Now, it's hard to fault the passing game. I think he hit 8 or 9, maybe 10 different receivers throughout the course of the game. He was on point. Offensive line, again, Wisconsin was bringing pressure. Nitpicky. I don't know if it's nitpicky to play. The running game does, even with them stacking the box, the running game does need to, because they showed a lot of whiffs. There were a lot of whiffs. I think Montgomery whiffed on the block. Tigre, he whiffed on a couple blocks. They were getting whipped on some of them running plays where they just flat out missed the guy lined up right across from them. How you miss a guy when he like 5 inches from you? But I don't know. They whiffed a couple big times on some of these running plays. So again, 34-0, you want something to work on. That's something you need to work on, is that running game, and stop whiffing on some of these blocks, because they whiff big time on some of these blocks. With the offense, it's clicking. Passing game playing in the second half, I think Wisconsin's defense wore down some. They were able to get some running stuff going on. But it's going to be a work in progress moving forward. That's something they can continually work on. They got some time to do it. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Got some time to do it, and we're going to see how it goes down the stretch. They got an off week. Time to refocus on the running game and see how it's going to, and what they got to do scheme-wise, or whatever they got to do to get that running game up and going. Like I said, it got a little better in the second half there. I think Wisconsin was wearing down. They had a little bit gaping homes. I think for the end of the day, they're just under 100 yards for the day. I think they averaged less than 4 yards per carry as a team running the ball, but stuff to work on, stuff to do. What was good to see, I said Bo was banged up a little bit, at least that's the word that was coming around, and like I said, CJ got to start. We got to see some meaningful snaps from Isaiah West, the other freshman running back, and he looked good. I think he averaged over 5 yards a carry, because he was looking good. He makes some big explosive plays, and that just bodes well for Ohio State moving into the future. Backfield with Bo Jackson and Isaiah West, Shayla, Trevion, and Quishon. It could be if it keeps shaping up that way, and then you got your steady person in C.J. Donaldson. So It's coming together. I think they're pacing it just right, given the length of the season. I think Ryan Day understands that he got a taste of that going through last year's playoffs and what it's going to take to make sure your guys remain healthy moving forward. So he's starting to integrate Isaiah West in there. I don't know because Bo was really that banged up, or they just wanted to see what Isaiah West brings to the table. And boy can play. He good. He good. He's explosive as well. So good. The running game. Work on some of the blocking, but the backs are good. The backs are good. I said running game work in progress. Jordan's like slinging the ball around. Got to see some different receivers finally. Got to see a Mayan Graham side. He made a good impression, a Cardinal Tate impression with that sideline catch he had. Quincy Porter had a couple catches. Another, it's just they just keep them coming. Just keep them coming. And Brandon, he got his first TD. Was that his first TD? I think you hear the footsteps behind him. Brandon picking his game up. Brandon is picking his game up. It was just, the passing game was good to see. Good to see over 400 yards and finally, well, some for I ain't gonna say no one, but finally he's finally getting some Heisman mention. Finally, it took a 400-yard game for him because they look for these quarterbacks and these things, of course, to have the stats to a degree, but they look for these wild plays or these plays where they overcome adversity and stuff. So it's hard to pick Julian in that category because he hadn't had to overcome any adversity. Because Ohio State just been dominating, blowing people out. I wouldn't say it was adversity, but a Heisman-esque moment. His touchdown to Brandon Ennis, rolled out the pocket, created some more space, room in the pocket, and delivered a dart to Brandon Ennis for that fourth TD pass. Just stuff like that. And finally, and it took a 400-yard game for some of the pundits to finally recognize what Julian's been doing. Like I said, this is his sixth straight game, I believe, where he's had at least two touchdown passes, and he's just a model of consistency so far. So, again, Julian has played his butt off. Offensively, looked good. One thing, poor Jay Fielding, he missed a field goal. Special teams that's the one getting nitpicky on weaknesses. Our special teams hasn't been up to par, but it's hard. You don't get to do a lot. As he kicked the least, how many field goals has he attempted this year? What, 10 to 15? Ain't like he get a lot of practice in game time situation called we scoring touchdowns. I'm just saying. Get it. You missed a 50-yarder, but you got anything under 50. Come on, Jay. You got to make those. You got to make those, man. But other than that, the offense looked good. In defense, like I said, I ran out of things to say about the defense. I expected them to get the shutout, and they delivered. They got iffy there when they brought in the backups in Wisconsin. I don't know if it was a backups on backups. It may have been because, like I said, a lot of Wisconsin players were already hurt by the time they did their final drive, and they got the ball on their final drive of the game, and they were driving down the field. They got some big rushes going on, and I was saying to myself, how much do they really want to preserve this shutout? Is he going to bring the starters back in, or is he going to let the defense backups go through some adversity their own, see if they can preserve this shutout? And I thought I was going to think to myself, I said, let those kids stay in there and try to preserve the shutout. Let them close the show. And I'm glad he left them in there, and they closed the show. The final hit, it was Aaron Scott. They bowled up when they needed to. They bowled up in the red zone. I think Wisconsin on their final drive gotten down to the red zone. And our backup defense, they preserved that shutout. And you seen how happy the first team defense was, and the whole team as a group was just happy that they preserved that shutout and the backups came through. And again, all I gotta say about the defense is all you gotta know about the defense and what they did today. The best offensive player for Wisconsin was their punter. He was their leading rusher. Then he ended up leading them in rushing on that fake punt. Made a couple moves too. I mean, he got a little wiggle to him. You all saw that punt, right? The fake punt. Yeah, he must have made at least two Ohio State defenders miss on route to getting that first down. But when your best offensive player, your leading rusher, is your punter, there ain't too much to say about the defense. There ain't too much. You can't. What's there to say? I mean, they got another interception. A lot of 3 and outs. And again, I think Wisconsin was down to the third, fourth string, whatever quarterback they were down to. I think they lost their third string running back. They were down to the fourth, fifth string running back. So you expected them, you expected the defense to come through with the shutout, and they did. And on a day where a lot of top 10 teams went down, days like this, you just want to win. And sometimes games like this can be worrisome because you wonder what the mindset's going to be. Are they going to take these guys seriously? They just got shut out last week by Iowa. They're not going to be a threat to us. So I'm glad they were able to go down and get that first touchdown to Carnell Tate, and I say it was a catch. Before we move on, but the Carnell Tate, what can you say? What can you say? And he got the ball rolling. Defense shut out. Kudos to the defense. Kudos to the backups. Look good. They look good. 34-0. Number one team. Folks have been trying to knock down Ohio State all year, trying to elevate other teams above them. But every time they try to elevate someone, these pundits try to pit someone above Ohio State. For weeks it's been Miami. Miami's the best team. Look their resumes. Well, you know what? Miami got spanked at home on Friday night. Louisville went in there, unranked Louisville went in there and beat Miami. Wasn't Carson Beck the Heisman front runner? I told you, every time they mention the Heisman front runner, he go out and have a bad game. He go out and have a bad game. And Carson Beck, he showed you why Georgia fans are happy he ain't in Georgia no more. He had a terrible game. Those Louisvilles, I saw some of those interceptions were just great athletic plays. But come on now, 4 interceptions is still 4 interceptions. Number 2, Miami goes down. You had a big slate now, so they gone. Ole Miss, games earlier. They fall to, on the road, number 9 Georgia. I'm never an Ole Miss person or the Mississippi schools. They always elevate the Mississippi schools. You can forgive them for this loss at Georgia on the road. I didn't expect them to win that anyway, but they were your number 5 team. Down. To be expected. Didn't think Lane Kiffin was going to go into Athens and win. The team I've been interested in it all year. Excuse me. Texas Tech. I brought them up last week and talking about Indiana. Indiana doing it, I don't say old school way, but they doing it a different way of building their brand and what Texas Tech is. Texas Tech is going out. They spending that money. Didn't play out too well, so started the season off good, but they go into Arizona State. They lose. So all that money. I ain't gonna say it's a wasted investment because, playoffs still. They'll probably still win the Big 12, go to the playoffs. They had a chance to redeem themselves. Ohio State showed you can do that last year. So, but all that money didn't do them well against the Sun Devils. Texas Tech, number 7 team, loses on the road. Was Arizona State ranked? I don't think so. Another unranked team beating a ranked top 10 team. How often does that happen this year now? Has that happened that often in previous season where these unranked teams are just beating top 10 teams? That's a good question. That is a good question. I'll say I've never seen so many unranked teams beat top 10 teams. Arizona State did it to Texas Tech. Louisville goes on the road and does it to Miami. Another top 10 team that goes down was at Vanderbilt. LSU goes into Vandy and loses. I picked Vanderbilt to win, but LSU ain't looked all that. Talking about Heisman's, is Diego gonna get some? He gonna get a little bit of run now? Cause talking about Heisman moments, I watched some of that game and that fourth down conversion. For those that saw the game, you know what play I'm talking about. It was a 4th and 4 or something. He running around the thing, thinking he's gonna get sacked. He found the dude wide open, hit him in the flat. Dude makes the first down. They go on to win the game. Diego Pavea. That was a Heisman moment that they like talking about. It was adversity. He overcame adversity. He made a play. Something that Julian really hadn't had to do yet. Diego did. He made it. He gonna get in the conversation. I guarantee you. But Vanderbilt takes down number 10 LSU. That's the 4th top 10 team to lose this week. It's just and I think last I checked, A&M was in the dogfight with Arkansas and Notre Dame and SC. Not top 10, but they kicking off. So we'll see how that plays out. But following the carnage of the top 10, I'm assuming Indiana, who took care of business against Michigan State, they gonna be number 2. The Fighting Kirk Cignettis, and he got paid. Wasn't he the front runner for Penn State? I told y'all, why leave? He could be a legend at Indiana. And with all the revenue sharing and all the NIL and all the money going around in the Big Ten, you don't think Indiana can cough up some money to keep him? I'm just saying, I did not think he was ever going to leave Indiana for Penn State. He don't need to. He can get paid, become a legend in Indiana right now. And he's probably going to be number 2. The Big Ten, for the second time this season, I believe, they're going to have the top 2 teams, Ohio State and Indiana. It'll probably be slip Alabama in there at number 3 should they beat Tennessee later on. But Big Ten's looking good. An undefeated Big Ten championship game collision course could happen. It could happen. Because Indiana and Ohio State do not play this year. If they are to play, it's going to be in the Big Ten championship game, I do believe. I could be wrong. But they don't play in the regular season this year, I don't think. 2 undefeated teams in the Big Ten championship game. That'll be winner take all. That'll be a great class. That'll be a great matchup should that come to pass. But for the most part, some big games are going on still. It's the Alabama, Tennessee are getting it on. USC, Notre Dame getting it on. So we're going to see how those games play out. But other than that, Ohio State's on a bye week next week. And then they get to take the field against Penn State. Minus James Franklin and minus Drew Allard. So I hope the young man comes back from his injury. But we're going to see what Penn State's going to look like minus James Franklin. It's going to be interesting. He ain't going to be unemployed long. He's a good coach. He just couldn't get Penn State over the hump. But we are going to see how that plays out. But Ohio State got a chance now. Bye week. Work on the running game. Do something. Look at the tape. See where these guys are whiffing those on those blocks. Jay Field and kick. Make your field goals, man. If you can't make them from 50, you gotta make everything from 50 and on down. You know what I'm saying? Just nitpicky stuff. Isaiah West, Bo Jackson. That is looking like a good combo moving forward for Ohio State if they can get the line played just a little bit better in the running game. But and that Buckeyes are looking good. Like I said, weeks like this when you have so many folks losing in the top 10 and folks always looking to knock you guys down a notch. It's boring to say Ohio State's the best team, but they are the best team. Like I said, some of the pundits, ESPN was pushing Miami. Like they push and put Miami lost. So it's boring. Sometimes it's boring. Best being the best can be boring, and that's what it seems like. So we'll see how it plays out. Other than that, please check out my other stuff. Ohio State get better. Fix on your running game. And now till next time, OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.